The House is not in session today. It was actually canceled because of a Capitol Police warning about another possible plot to breach the Capitol or blow up the Capitol, basically to kill a bunch of people. And this is, of course, coming from a combination of QAnon people and domestic terror groups that call themselves militias and a number of other things like that. And it's basically all centered around this idea that Donald Trump is going to be inaugurated once again as president today. Why do they believe that? Because America has a very large undiagnosed mental health problem. There's more to it too that they would say is why they believe it, but that's fundamentally why they believe it. So anyway, Capitol Police are preparing for another assault today. They have intelligence on a potential plot by a militia group. It's entirely possible that nothing will happen, because some officials describe the threats as more aspirational than operational. It's a lot of people saying they hope that the Capitol is destroyed today, rather than saying that they're necessarily the ones who are going to do it. So bear in mind, nothing could happen, but also bear in mind that I believe on the morning of January 6th, I said that things are probably gonna go pretty smoothly. So you never know actually how it's gonna go, Adrienne. What are your thoughts?
You know what, it's so interesting to me how these people purport to be patriots and really wanting democracy. And then at the same time, they're out here saying, oh, we hope the Capitol gets blown up. And it really resonates with me, the fact that there are people who just want anarchy. And if that's what you want, just say it, but don't do it under the guise of purporting to reestablish the democracy. Because that's just, it's a complete and total farce. And I'm mystified with how our law enforcement, unfortunately, doesn't seem to be taking it as seriously. It's like when we have black and brown people marching down the street, like they're completely prepared and they are using all sorts of mechanisms to stop this. But then when we have white people rushing the Capitol and instances like this, it's kind of one of those of, can't be that bad. And it ends up hurting us all. And we need not to have that to be the case.
Definitely. Now, I've alluded to some of the, I don't know what word to use. It's not philosophy. It's not, what is it, the thinking that's going on right now about how America is technically a corporation. And so how for like 150 years, the presidents haven't been the president, they've been the CEO of America, which is how Donald Trump is gonna become. Look, it's complicated. So why don't we go to the actual sources for this information? Here is some footage that CNN took at a Trump rally.
My hope that President Trump comes back as the 19th president of the United States under the 1776, and that he is inaugurated on March 4th. That is my hope for our future.
Feel foolish on March 5th when Biden's still president?
Then Trump has a different plan in play.
Everybody keeps saying Trump has a plan, he has a plan. When he lost the election, they said he has a plan. He's still going to stay that way.
Trump didn't lose the election, sir.
But he did.
Trump did not lose the election, and that's where we differ.
Right.
And that's where I believe the information that Mike Lindell has put out,
the pillow guy,
of all of the abuse, corruption, stealing.
So you trust the man? You trust the man more who sells pillows than the Republican officials in Georgia?
Oh, absolutely.
The military is in charge. It's going to be like Myanmar. What's happening in Myanmar? The military is doing their own investigation, and at the right time, they're going to be restoring the republic with Trump as president.
So, look, maybe it's just a couple of people that they're having a tough time mentally and emotionally in response to what's going on. Maybe that's what it is, but lots of people do believe the things that those people were saying there. Adrienne, under 1776, he's gonna come back, and the military is they're gonna do like Myanmar, which she cited as a good thing. And they're gonna bring Trump back. But understand that QAnon also believes that Biden is only there because the deep state put him there, which is simultaneously the military, but not the military, depending on whether it needs to be the military at any given point. So like the military is the bad guy and they will also bring back Trump. Oh, what are we supposed to do? Oh, is this a waste of time? Should we just ignore this?
I think it can be very dangerous to ignore it because like you mentioned, there are a lot of people who believe these theories. And as these conspiracy theories continue to grow, so do people's kind of insistence that they are true and that they need to do something to save the system. And these people have been indoctrinated. Like, this is dangerous because, just because they're not necessarily, working with a full deck doesn't mean that they can't do damage, as we've seen before, and it doesn't mean that they won't do damage.
Yeah, and like I don't believe that either of those two women is going to be storming the Capitol, although plenty of people that looked indistinguishable from them did. So perhaps I should be a little bit more worried about that. But it also kind of bothers me that there's a lot of people who are just sort of passively waiting for people to start getting executed, and they're looking forward to that. And speaking about it let's make this explicit. Everything that especially the woman with the hat said was just religious speak. That's all it was. She was talking about Mike Lindell rather than some priest. And she was talking about Trump rather than some god. But everything that she just said was an expression of religious belief about the infallibility of her leader and how you have to have faith and that's how you generate. Like, that's all it. She wasn't talking about this like a person talks about politics or about particular politicians. And that makes me extremely, I guess, pessimistic about the possibility of trying to get through to this person. They're not exercising the same mental or cognitive tools for determining fact from fiction. She has a story that she likes and everything will work out. If Trump doesn't get reinaugurated, which he definitely will, but if he doesn't, then he works in mysterious ways. He has some other plan, and who am I, a mere mortal, to be able to figure that out, Adrienne?
Yeah, and the thing that you also need to consider is that Trump has a son, multiple sons, some of which we don't even know about or he doesn't even know about. But the son could be the second coming for Trump. And this mentality, all of these theories, they're so dangerous because people who are soccer moms or just basic everyday people are actually believing them. And they are out here promulgating this message and pushing for it to actually come to fruition. This is scary.
It is. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.